we want you to get healthy physically and spiritually. So what the mistake that most people make is that they want to get healthy and then, all right, let's go all in. Let's take some baby steps.
Jordan?
It's going great. How are you?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Grab my combs here. Okay, what are we doing for your haircut today, Jordan?
Kind of same thing as always.
Yeah.
I think where do we go? Like up to a 1.5 fade.
Uh-huh.
And then
just kind of taper it on the sides and taper in the back.
Yes, sir. I'd probably take like 1 inch off the top.
Okay. Sweet. So Jordan, I know you through the barber shop. You're one of my regular clients, and I've always known you as a guy to be fit, a man that cares about his shape, but also cares about just being a healthy person in general. Would you consider yourself to have always been kind of a healthy guy, or early on as a kid or in your teenage years were you also into that kind of stuff? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I would say so. When I was younger, my parents really encouraged me and my siblings to play sports.
Mm-hmm.
So played baseball, basketball, soccer from the time I can remember, all the way through high school, and then in college I played baseball. So always staying fit. And then, as I got out of college, we got married in college.
Okay.
And, got married to a very physically fit, healthy woman who taught me a lot and continues to teach me a lot about health.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that she was the healthy one in the relationship?
Yes. I would say that I shouldn't say always, but for the most part, very physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
And could run fast, could lift heavy weights, but not necessarily healthy.
Gotcha.
Where she was always very healthy, very physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Ate the right foods and took care of her body a lot more than I have over the years. And I'm still paying the price a little bit for that, but she's gotten me to a much better place.
That's neat.
But as we got married, I started having kids, she never really laxed at all. She stayed on top of her health and fitness, but I slacked a little bit to the point where I was like, my back started to hurt when I would change diapers and stuff, and that just didn't, I was
doing a task like changing diapers.
Yeah, and I should be able to handle this in my late 20s. So. That's when I started to get a little more serious about it, and at that point I started working out again for like 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Started eating better, more healthy, more greens, smaller portion sizes.
Mm-hmm.
All once again at the advice of my beautiful wife.
Yeah.
And over the course of 2 years, I lost about 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And was probably the most healthy I had ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in my life, I was feeling really good, feeling healthy, and thought, let's start doing some stuff that's not normal physically for people to do. So with my brother-in-law and a buddy of his from college, we decided to do an Ironman.
Okay.
Which is a 140-mile race.
Shoot.
Where you swim 2.4 miles, ride 112 miles, and then run a marathon.
Man.
And learned a lot about the training process and what it takes to do that. Did that, was able to finish that race, which was goal one, was to be able to finish, and we all did that. That was back in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
And since then, I've done various ultra marathons and different things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
at this point in my life, at the age of 37, I do feel like I am the healthiest I've ever been,
That's awesome.
which is definitely a good feeling.
Yeah.
Certainly, it can get better, but
Mm-hmm.
in a good place with physical fitness.
Yeah. And so what was some of the disciplines that were the hardest to overcome? And what were some of the things that you used to overcome those setbacks?
Yeah, so really the making time. I over the years, I have made the excuse, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When if I really took an inventory of how I spent my time,
Mm-hmm.
I had plenty of time. I just wasn't making time for the things that I was saying was most important to me, but were obviously not.
Yeah.
Just watching football games all day on Sunday, or watching a movie every night.
Mm-hmm.
So those were some things that I really had to identify in myself to cut out and replace them with things that were more healthy for me
Mm-hmm.
and my family. So one way that, once again, my wife has really encouraged me to do that is being more intentional with my time, is waking up before everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
get a good workout in, try to read, journal. That's when we'll do our devotionals in the morning as well.
Nice.
And so that's been an extremely good habit, because it's a momentum builder from the very beginning of each day. And
Yeah.
I have failed many, many times over the years getting up. It's so easy to talk yourself out of getting out of bed.
Yeah.
It's a little too cold, it's too hot, I'm too tired, my leg hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But creating a discipline where that becomes the norm has been probably one of the most difficult things I've done, but also most productive.
Yeah, that's awesome. Flash forward, you're now one of the owners of a fitness center / community center. I say fitness because it's easy to talk about.
Yeah.
But a community center where you have a gym, where you have a place where people can come to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that means less time than ever, because you're still working a full-time job, still involved in sports and things with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
How does time management, even more than ever, come into play for you?
Yeah, it becomes extremely important, and mostly I think devoting quality time to each of my children, to my wife, because what we're doing is my wife and I, and then our very close friends, we call them family,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan and Kate, we started this community center that we really believe in, and we're really excited about it. But how we run it is Ryan and I will wake up and get there at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
We'll open up and get our workout in, and then we'll each go to work all day, and our wives will come in and run the center, but they will run it most of the time.
Yeah.
And then we come in, at the end of the day and kind of relieve them, and
Mm-hmm.
then we see each other for a few hours each night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, like I said, it has to be more intentional. So when I get home, making sure we have a family dinner together, making sure we're, playing a game of Uno or hanging out, talking about the day. And then also making sure we put the kids to bed at an early enough time where my wife, Stephanie, and I can talk, can have a conversation about how her day was, what her challenges were, what my challenges were, and how everything went, and then just kind of decompress together.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And how has that been? This community center has only been open, a couple weeks now, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks, and it's definitely going well. It's been an adjustment, but we knew what kind of sacrifices we were going to have to make.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really good. Like it's honestly, I feel like we're spending more quality time together because we're aware that there's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
So instead of popping a movie on and sitting there together, we're looking at each other and talking.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
and so yeah, when you're pinched a little bit, I feel like you're forced to assess, where you're at, and it, for me, in times of like where it's a little more difficult, it's easier to make more time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm sure even your kids have to be full on involved as well. I mean, this is something that is taking up a lot of your time. How are they kind of adjusting with it, and how are you guys being intentional to adjust that they are a part of it?
Right. So it's a community center. So in the front there's a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
In the back of the building it's a weight room. It's a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have basically everything that you could need to get a good workout in,
Mm-hmm.
to get healthy, to get fit, and we have a lot of knowledge through the four of us to teach people how to use the equipment that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
That side of things our children cannot help a ton with because of the knowledge side, but then the safety side.
Yeah, for sure.
There's thousands of pounds back there that are swinging around and could really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
But out front they can. So we've set it up in a way that before I came here tonight, my son and I were playing Scrabble together.
Uh-huh.
We've got a magnetic Scrabble game on the wall,
Uh-huh.
and we're spending time doing that. And
cool.
he makes sure that if anybody's playing that game, it's cleaned up after they're done. They're wiping down tables and they're serving in that way.
Uh-huh.
My oldest daughter is 12, and she wants to learn how to use the espresso machine to
Mm-hmm.
make lattes for our members, and we're teaching our kids how to deal with customer service on the side of, hey, smile when you see people, welcome them, be a friend to them, and so that's been exciting. And they are our three kids, and the Regals have three kids that are our kids' age and a little younger, and all six of them are excited. They are glad to serve and to help people, and we also have a library in there, and they're helping. When parents come in with young children, they'll grab a book and they'll read with them and hang out, and it is a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fun to see your kids get in on the vision together with you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're three strands. It's faith, family, fitness. So we do want to prioritize those three things. Most notably, kind of in that order.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just make sure that we do bring them along for the ride.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I'm sure it would be really easy to just kind of say, hey kids, go back in the playroom and have fun, and them kind of lose sight of what you guys are up to,
right.
And then just kind of see, oh well, this is what the parents are doing and this is what we're doing. But it seems like you're being very intentional to say, okay, this is what our family is doing,
right.
And this is what we're doing together, and this is the purpose behind it, that we believe that God is important in our lives, and that it's important that we give back to the community. Because even if people can't afford a gym, they're able to come in to your guys' place for free, which is amazing.
Right.
And if people can afford it, then they can give what they can afford. But that's such a beautiful thing. To let them in on that together with it.
Right.
And,
yeah. We want them to serve, to help people, to have that servant's heart, and so that's certainly part of the reason we're doing this. It honestly wouldn't make sense to do something like this without our faith being in the center of it. Because why would you give somebody a free membership to a gym? That doesn't make any business sense. But we really truly do want people just to come and see, get healthy, hang out, have community, find somebody else that's struggling just like you, and walk through that struggle together. My wife just had a conversation with a family from our church, and they were like, well, that we're not sure if we can afford a membership for all of us in the family. And Steph was like, we want you more than we want your money. Come in, and whatever you want to donate per person, feel free to do that. And we're really sensitive to that, because as we were young, married in college, and we started having kids before we were 25, we really couldn't afford a gym membership until we were in our 30s. And so we don't want that to be an excuse for somebody not to go, or to not have community, to not have a place to get healthy physically, spiritually, and so that idea came up through conversations with our friends, the Regals, and we really, like I said, it wouldn't make sense without our faith in Christ. So that's where it's centered. But we just really want people to come and get healthy, and whatever that means for them, whether it be an ultimate goal of running a 5K or just going on a hike or running a 100-mile race, like whatever it is, we want to help people get there. But then also, if that goal is to spend more time with your family, bring your family along and come and just hang out.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun too. Just because in just like the Christian faith in general, Jesus really focused on community and being one with one another. And I feel like there's a lot of isolation in our culture right now, that it's kind of, I'll do my thing, you do your thing, and we'll kind of figure it out in the middle and hopefully have fun together.
Right.
But it's not about working it out together, and it's not about, it's mostly about being good and enjoying time with another person.
Right.
But a great place to do the working out, literally, but also to just build community is a place like that. And I want my barbershop as well to be a place where people can feel free to just open up and talk about whatever, and not feel judgment for feelings, or not feel judgment for what they're doing. It's just such an awesome call to have, that we have the ability to bring people into.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, super fun.
Yeah, this has been a really good place for me. I mean, Matthew, you and I have had many conversations about what you're doing here, about what we were planning to do and now are doing with Three Strands. And this is another really cool place. Hamburg is up and coming, and it's places like this, and I'm hoping that Three Strands can be a place as well that is kind of moving this community in the right direction. And I think so much of what we do as human beings, it should be with one another.
Yeah.
The best time to get to know somebody is when you're doing something hard together.
Yeah.
Like athletic teams will talk about, hey, that one bad thing that happened, and then we all came together.
Yeah.
And so why not let that really hard thing be picking up that weight and putting it over there and improving together and doing those hard things together with somebody, whether you know that individual right now or not. We'd love you to bring a friend, but also we'd love you to come and meet a friend. My wife says it, and she's kind of joking, but kind of not. Like, she'd like to hear someday about how somebody, there's a wedding, and the two individuals met at Three Strands, and they talk about how they had, developed community there, and we're really hoping it can be a place like that.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people that will listen to this that don't live in Hamburg. They can't come to Three Strands. And what was a place where you started to find community before you started this place? And what was some of those relationships that really put the intentionality for you guys to build a community center?
Right. So I should say, like, for me, it's sports. If so I've always looked for a group of guys that want to play soccer, they want to play baseball, they want to play basketball. Yeah. And like I said, doing those hard things together kind of like brings people together. But also serving. So in our church, some of my closest friends are people that we served next to, and that's been a really great way to develop that community aspect. Yeah. But the way that this community center came together was, during COVID shutdown, we weren't allowed to go do anything. So we thought, well, let's just go hike the mountain 5 days a week. Yeah. And so we would go with our friends, the Regals, and just kind of dream, and came to the conclusion that, for many, many years, we all wanted to start a gym, and it just wasn't the right time, and we didn't have the right ideas in place or the right people to push us. And that's when we slowly developed the idea of a nonprofit and making it run by donation only, giving people the opportunity to have no excuses to get healthy. And
Yeah. And so kind of what I'm hearing you say, and also mixed with what I've been experiencing in my own life, is that kind of start where you're at.
Yeah.
Start with what you have. And I think it's like there's always at least one good person around you, and it might not be the person that you think you'd get along with the best. It might not be the person that has the most things in common with you. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But finding loyal people around you that you can trust.
Yeah.
And just doing life, like you said. I've when I started this barber shop, I had to really humble myself and ask for a lot of help, just in the construction and the remodeling of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And just having those people to have my back was super just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like this is really what it's about. It's about doing things together. It's about, eating pizza on the floor and, the stupid little stuff that doesn't feel like a big deal. But then when you're, at home and you're thinking about some of the hard things of life, you remember that those people were for you,
Right.
and that someone had your back.
Yeah.
And I think it's just finding community wherever you're at. And if you can find a place like Three Strands, awesome. And if you can't, be that place for someone else, whether it's your living room or your place of business.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And along those lines, and I'm sure you have a long list of things that you've seen and people that have come through. We, a month or two ago, decided, all right, we're going to just take a few minutes and start writing down some of the different people who have stepped up, some of the different things that have happened throughout this process, and that has helped us get to the point where our community center is open, because it's not mine, it's not the Boyers, it's not the Regals, it's Hamburg's community center.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us like 10 minutes to fill a page.
Wow.
And we could have kept going, and it was really like you had said, humbling and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And the people's names that we were writing down, some of them just kind of came out of nowhere, and were like, hey, I really want to help in some way. And some of them were some that we expected, and some were not. And you played a huge role in that, with helping us to find the people to get the building, and helping us to find an unbelievable deal with a local school that donated a ton of equipment.
That was super cool.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. And so many things like that have happened throughout the process, where it does feel like this is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get out of the way and let it happen.
Yeah, super cool how just like, I knew Jordan was looking for equipment for the gym, and one of my other clients was like, yeah, we're trying to get rid of this equipment. It's not bad stuff, but we don't even know what to do with it. I was like, well, I think I might know a person.
I know a guy.
And it's so cool when we just step up as for each other and think beyond ourselves. And it's so simple, because it wasn't like I even had to do anything, but just even speaking up and knowing the people around you and knowing their needs, that's when you're able to be the biggest part of a community. And it's opening up in those places to allow people to even know your needs.
Right.
Like, if people don't know your needs, they're not going to be able to help you. If you don't listen for what people need, then you're not going to be able to help them either. So just having that open ear and open heart to be thinking beyond yourself and thinking, for something bigger. But
I think we've joked to you in the past, you're our biggest marketing tool. People sitting down, and I think the big thing is that what you were just saying, your people trust you because you care about them. And both the building with Joe and Erica, and then the equipment, those were situations that came up because you listened. And and I've said this before, we really appreciate what you've done for us in that regard, and what this barbershop is, also to the community. So we appreciate it.
Super cool. So Jordan, what would be some of your closing advice to someone listening?
We want you to get healthy, physically and spiritually. So I think what the mistake that most people make is that they want to I want to get healthy, and then, all right, let's go all in. And it's 2 weeks of an hour and a half a day and skipping meals and cutting sugar and everything all at once. When let's take some baby steps. Let's work out 10 minutes a day, 3 days a week. And then in a couple weeks, work out 10 minutes a day, 4 days a week. Then you'll get to 6 days a week. And after a month or a few months of that, or even a year, take the next step and cut sugar out of your diet. And then, try not to drink sugary drinks. Like little things, 1 or 2 things at a time, I think is the best way to go about it. Let's not jump into a complete lifestyle change immediately. Let's hack away at little things, and 2 years down the road, you're going to be a completely different individual with completely different habits and different lifestyle.
That's great. Thanks, Jordan.
Absolutely, thank you.
Show you the haircut. How's that look, Jordan?
And good.
Good length?
Perfect.
Do you want any product in your hair?
Yeah, please.
It's my favorite Sheer Revivals, Northern Lights, especially for thin hair.
The other day I was like, man, my hair is just doing some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And Steph was like, use that product from Matthew. He'd be so proud. And I did, and it stopped doing weird stuff.
That's awesome.